Hello, everybody.
Okay. Yeah, hi, Andrew.
Hi, Andrew.
I just
Hello.
we're live now, and so we can start the broadcast for this segment for Asia, and I'll introduce Li Feng. Are you the moderator, or is it of
Yes.
this session? Okay, so
yes, I will be the moderator.
Okay, so I'll just introduce you, and we'll just take it from there. So I'd just like to say that for everybody that my name is Andre Loy, and I'm the International Director of Regeneration International, and we're hosting this. And I'd like to welcome you to the Asia section and hand over to our host and moderator, Li Feng. So Li Feng, please, it's all yours now to do it.
Okay, then. Good day to all from the different meridian. So I am Li Feng. I'm the co-chair of the Young Organics Global Network. Now I'm sitting in Shanghai to welcome you all to our session. I think inspired by our great organic leader, Andrew Liu, so the Asian Organic Youth Forum and the Goa Organic Foundation course Alumni Association. We are together to take part in organize and participate in such a special 24-hour Global People's Food Summit. I think the most familiar part of your life could always be the part you ignore the most, and like the air and our food system. So while the people in our urban area or even in some of the rural area start to get used to the modern commercial supply chain of the food, the fundamental role of the food system, the soil, are ignored. And the smallholders farmers who live highly depending on the soil are losing the voice for today's and for tomorrow's food system. So we hope this story is not going to continue, and we believe that the Young Organics and the other young youth groups could play an important role in stopping this. Therefore, we invited the speakers in our network today to present to you the role of the smallholders and the youth in the food system. So first, let's welcome our co-president of the Goa Organic Foundation Course Alumni Association, Cecily Wong from Hong Kong, to give us the welcome message. Hi, Cecily. The floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Li Feng. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Can you all hear me right? Okay, I'm Cecily Wong from Hong Kong, China, the co-president of Goa OFC Alumni Association. First of all, I would like to thank each one of you for joining People's Food Summit East Asia region. I feel great proud to say yes, this is the first summit organized by the Asian Organic Forum and Goa Organic Foundation Course Alumni Association. I bid a very warm welcome to all the speakers who took out their valuable time and joined us today to be a part of this summit. We are honored to have you all with us. In this summit, we would like to bring out the role of smallholders and the youth in food systems. Nowadays, cooperate monopoly control the food systems, and many smallholders and young people are bearing heavy burdens and are being exploited by the systems. We will hear some challenges for the smallholders and young people in Asia today, and also some sharing best practices and solutions. I wish this summit ignited us and empowers the majority of food producers, the smallholders, family farmers, pastoralists, and foresters. On behalf of AOAA, I would like to thank you again to everyone for being here tonight.
Okay, thank you, Cecily. Yeah, I met one of my friends, Ling, in India. Actually, we are all Chinese. We met in India, and she studied in Europe for several years. After her study, she decided or determined to be an organic smallholder in China. But she was facing so many challenges. And today, I think first we are going to invite Ling to give her speech on the challenges for the smallholders and the youth in China.
Okay. Can you hear me? All right. Hello and good evening, everybody. I feel very happy to meet you guys, especially Yvonne and Cecily. Again, since 3 years ago on the AGOA courses in South Korea. And thank you for providing me this opportunity to share my thoughts and experiences regarding some issues we have met during our farming practices. So I will talk about the challenges for smallholders and youth in China, especially Eastern China, where I come from. I've summed up the main challenges into 3 parts. First of all, it's the impacts of climate change. I actually studied about climate change like 10 years ago in Sweden, Europe, during my master's degree in Sweden. However, it's until in recent years when I started doing farming that I deeply becoming aware and understand that it is actually happening not somewhere in the world, but just around us. In 2019, we had a severe drought during the summer to autumn season. It was so dry that local villagers told me that a little hidden spring beside my farm, which always had water coming out since they were very young, became dried out. And that year, the yield of our soybeans reduced to half. I thought that was an abnormal year. It would be back on track and become better the next year. And I was totally wrong. In 2020, we had an extreme long rainy season, lasted for about 50 years with no sun, and heavy flood during June and July. And the road to our fields was destroyed, and some field paths had also collapsed, including the fruit trees grown on them. During autumn, it was raining day by day for more than 20 days. And this totally destroyed the most important flower season for our honeybees. We harvested very little honey, and it caused problems for the bees to survive over the coming tough winter. It was a disaster again last winter because we had a record of the lowest temperature, -11 degrees. Usually in our region, -5 is already very cold. Therefore, although we had some preparation, our honeybees reduced to half, and about 1/3 of fruit trees died. That was not a period. This year, the climate is not becoming any better for an organic farmer. Again, it is extremely wet during spring and no rain at all during summer and autumn. To cope with these problems, we need to invest a lot of money to, for example, fix the infrastructure, to build watering facilities, to increase human labor input, etc. Yet our yields are still reduced while the costs are going up. This makes our products even less competitive on the market. Any solutions? Yes and no. Now comes the second challenge, policy preference. I believe in most of the countries, agriculture, especially organic practices, are encouraged by the authorities. However, in China, only when you are big enough are you able to get those subsidies and supports from the government. For example, growing rice or wheat, such main grain crops, is subsidized when you have over 50 Chinese acres of land. And I'll tell you, an average farming household has around 1 to 2 Chinese acres here in our region. And my farm has less than 20 Chinese acres in total. So smallholders like us are automatically excluded by the authority. And in our hilly area, growing crops is not easy because we have very small pieces of land. Few farmers actually use machines to help. The reasons are it's not practical when the scale is too small, and it's too expensive to buy machines and maintain them. And the current made in China machinery is, to be honest, not good enough in practice. And while those good imported machines are not affordable, and due to our policy, only part of the domestic made machinery can be subsidized by the government. Of course, different provinces have quite different local policies. They mainly depend on the region's economic power and their policymakers, how much importance they put on agriculture. And the third challenge for young people doing eco farming is actually a social problem. Due to those challenges I mentioned before, it is sadly to tell you that being a smallholder farmer is hardly paying back. You can't really make a living when you have a family. For young singles, it can also be tricky for them to find someone to get married. Doing farming is still considered by the general public as a low social status career with low income yet high risks. More than 3 years ago, I was pregnant during our training course in Korea. Then I had a 1 year's time breastfeeding my baby while working on a farm. And I still needed the help and support from my parents. This year, my son is 3 years old, and I can send him into the kindergarten. I would have more time and focus on my farm. However, I found myself pregnant again. So this year, now it's harvest season, but we have very poor yields because I couldn't do much on the farm since this summer. Our 3 kinds of peanuts have been totally eaten by the wild rats and the rabbits. And again, I will have around 3 years raising my second baby to the age when I can put him into a daycare or kindergarten. And kids are not the only issue for my generation nowadays. As you know, we born in the 80s and the 90s in China, are mostly the only child in the family. Now the national policy has changed. We can have 2 or even 3 children for each couple. So now it's very common that in a family, the structure is like this: 2 kids with 2 parents with 4 grandparents. This means 2 adults have to work really hard to take care of 2 children and 4 elder people. If anyone or more gets sick, it is tough for the whole family. This kind of pressure and burden is not typical for young organic farmers, but it is certainly disencourage young people to keep on doing what they like and really believe in. I have many examples around me who already gave up. And for myself, I actually have no idea whether I can keep on doing this or not in the future, and for how long I can make it. In the end, I want to mention that the biggest motivation for me to be an organic farmer is being a mother of 2 babies. although it's very hard and it's not making you rich, I still think all the efforts worth it. Thank you for your listening.
Yeah, thank you, Zhongling. I think many of especially for the young and new farmers, smallholders, they are all facing the difficulty universally. And Zhongling is one of the case, but this case is not really just in the production side, but we also have one of our friends from Hong Kong, Chen Sem-Yue. And I think she is trying to also help smallholders in the market side, but I think she also have some of the challenges during her work. And yeah, let's listen to the story from Carol. And this floor is yours, Carol.
Okay, thank you, and good evening, everyone. I have actually prepared a PowerPoint to introduce my organization and some of my previous work, and so to let you to know more and to know more what kind of organization that we have done. So maybe I take a few seconds to share my PowerPoint first. Can everyone see my PowerPoint? Hello.
Yes, we could see it before. Go back to what you were doing. Thank you.
Thank you. So, okay.
Just hit play. Thanks.
Okay, so I do. Okay, so actually, I'm going to share a story of a local online veggie selling platform, which is called Plant right now, and actually that business has been ended in August, which is 2 months ago in this year. So today I'm going to share the story which have already been ended, and the business had actually already been ended. So it's quite kind of reviewed and come with some of the challenges and some of the questions that we have been facing when we are operating our business in Hong Kong. So to briefly introduce, to let you know how we are going to start our business. Actually, at the very beginning, we are start as an interest group by forming several farmers and some kind of the local young people. At that time, actually, several young people are in that interest group. And then we try to start with some of the pop-up sales and some of the farm activities, just like one time off. It's not a long term, which is kind of pop-up style. And at that time, we are doing some organization work. But then later, we have joined Mindful Market, which is a social enterprise course, then which lead us to one step further to the organic sectors. And then we designed to set up a PGS, the participatory guarantee system in Hong Kong, which is actually the first PGS system in Hong Kong. And then we have also joined some competition and joined some incubation, which actually help us to further establish our business. But our team actually is kind of a small team, only having 3 to 4 people, and our full-time staff is only having 2 full-time staff. So it's not a very big team, but we have to do a lot of job and a lot of work because organic organization or selling platform is actually kind of a platform that involves a lot of work, and is quite we have to be multiple tasks and handling different kind of activities and work at the same time. So at one side, we are going to have we have organized a lot of sharing and talks in Hong Kong, like inviting the Thailand Miss Valampa to come and to share their PGS experience with our farmers and also our cooperators. And we also have some farmer meetings so the farmers in our platform can they can share their message, or they could exchange their farming technique. So sometimes we also have to help a lot of gatherings and parties to do to build up the relationship between the farmers. So that actually quite a lot of communication work between us and the farmers, and that actually take up a lot of the labor cost and time. But still we are enjoying of those work. But that actually yes, it take up a lot of time. So for the PGS side, we would have to set up the production standards. We also the inspection guideline, and we would have to organize the initial visits and farm inspection. So like the farm inspection, we would invite the farmers, all the farmers in the platform come together and visit the farms and do the internal audit together. And then we will also have the PGS Open Day, which is bringing the consumer, so the consumer can play the role in the PGS and also join into the system. And in the meanwhile, they could learn and know more about what is organic, what actually they are buying in the product. So that actually is kind of education and can help us to maintain a loyal market and a more loyal customer relationship. And then for the sales platform, we mainly do it on the online, and so we would build up. We have an app website, so we can we offer some of the veggie boxes, which the farmer would pick the freshest the fresh veggies to put in a box, and actually there are 3 size of boxes, so the consumer can buy it in a monthly basis or just a one-time basis. Or there are some individual items on the platforms, so consumer can pick them by their own. And also because the transportation costs are very high, so to minimize the cost or to make the balance, we actually have to sell different kind of products other than the veggies. So actually that's one kind of the difficulty that we are facing when we are holding the platform, that we have to keep maximize or increasing the item type or to maximize or to increase the products in our platform, so to attract more consumer or to keep their attention on the local organics. So if we're only selling local produce, that actually not that attractive to the consumers. So that but also the sourcing and the marketing job will actually cost us a lot of time. Again, is some labor costs will be increased. Other than the retail, we also do some wholesales to the supermarket, and also we have to do some education activities like the farm activities and also some school programs. So as you can see, we do a lot of different kind of activities, and to run the PGS, we have to spend many time in like the QC quality check and also the education and activities. So the high operation cost is actually one of the big burden that are faced by us, like the transportation cost, the labor cost, even the package, and also the marketing cost. Like you have to spend money in the promotion in Facebook, IG, and even the SEO, the organic search in the Google websites or something like that. That everything take a lot of cost, and especially in a developed economy like Hong Kong, the transportation cost is really high. So in the meanwhile, that we have to add up the veggie price, so to maintain a margin. But that actually required us to have to do a lot of marketing work, and to do the marketing work, that which is we have to face, or we have to put our products to a bigger group of consumer. And so it's just like we have to sell more quantity or more veggies, so to gain the profit. But actually somehow we're just kind of small holders, as we were all saying that we just have 2 full-time staff. So the increasing burden from the big enterprise also give us a very a huge challenge in nowadays, and that's actually one of the reasons why we chose to stop our business at the time, because some big platform will also try to start to sell some local veggies, but not organic one, maybe some traditional or conventional one with a cheaper price and maybe a better appearance. So consumer may think that would be a better alternative than local organic veggie. So that kind of, and the big enterprise, they have more resources and money and human resources to do the better marketing job. So actually that does give a very great burden to us. And so as a seller, or what we say is as a sales platform, is really facing a big challenging from the business side. And also one kind of the challenge is to strike a balance between social and business, because what we call ourselves is social enterprise. We care about the local, we care about organic, we care about the farmers. That means we have to do much more work to help to assist their living. But however, we are operating a business, so that a business is actually like focusing on how to minimize the cost, how to reach more people, how to enhance or boosting your sales. So actually there are some conflict, because when we do more social work, we are actually increasing our costs. But if we like to pushing our business toward a more profit aimed it, it's less like we are just like minusing the social business or the social work that we have done to the farmers. So another thing, just like another problem from the main from the production side, which is the global warming issue. That actually affects the productions, and actually when the production is being affected, the marketing side are also being affected, because more communication work have to be done, and also the quantity is not stable, so we cannot do the planning of the marketing, because the marketing plan do have to take some time. If the product or if the produce is not that stable, then actually would cause us kind of many troubles, and also we have to spend more time in the planning. Yeah. So this is all the challenges and all the difficulties that we are facing when we are having the online sales platform in Hong Kong. But I think actually we do have the opportunity to do better, and actually I think we could actually like organic could be like different method or different platform is actually creating or organizing in nowadays. So hope we will have a greater future. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Carol. I think in the case from Ling and Carol, it appears that the value they make from the smallholder farming cannot really match the cost of their modern life. And is it their failure, or do we really have to look at the large-scale food system supply chain, and we can see that there are so many invisible costs we have to pay later by this modern large-scale food system? And is this a problem for the smallholders, or for those who are helping smallholders are facing, is actually from the pressure of this unfair food system? So I think this is not a problem for today, but also before we also have these challenges for the smallholders. And here we have one of our organic pioneer from India, Matthew Jong, who has really dedicated his quite long life in the helping the smallholders. And now he's going to share us the story to how to empowerment of the tribal farmers. Matthew, you have the floor.
Thank you, Li Feng. Thank you. It's nice to be sharing from India, all the way from India. And it was such an encouragement to be hearing these stories from Carol and from Songling earlier, for the kind of work that the youth have been putting up in different parts of Asia. I want to share a little bit. So they've been talking about the youth, but I want to share a little bit about small farmers, and not only within the small farmer set, there is a whole set of people who are from the indigenous communities, and these communities face very different kind of challenges. They are a set of people who are not heard. They're not seen also very much because they are not powerful politically, and they're not visible. And so I talk about my work, which is based in the Nilgris. It's a biosphere reserve. It was the first biosphere reserve in India, and so you have a very rich ecosystem here, because you have flora, fauna, which is very unique to the area. We're part of what we call the Western Ghats, which is, nearly the really the lungs of this country. And in the midst of all this are also these indigenous communities. They are a set of people who are very small in number. They form a very small percentage even in these hills. And so you have a very interesting scenario, because mountains are usually not very important in a political system. You have indigenous communities who are further not heard, and are never taken up as part of the planning. And when you have people who are collecting forests produced from the wild, really you are talking of a very small minority of people. But what we need to understand is that this set of people are also many times the stewards of our ecosystems. They are people who protect the areas that they are a part of. They understand those ecosystems much better. And so these communities in the past few decades, where they have coexisted very well for hundreds and thousands of years, suddenly their entire systems are being shaken up. Their cultural traditions, are facing tremendous challenges, because the outside set of people are growing and having such an influence. Their moorings in many ways are shaken. And we very easily we use these terms of adaptation and resilience. Sometimes I feel, these are terms that we have sort of brought up because it's very soothing to our souls, without understanding what these communities are going through. And you would always talk about that these are processes of evolution, but the processes of evolution is something that is not in control in their hands. It's something that is being driven by an outside system, which is so much more powerful, so much more influencing. And so sometimes they are left in decision making. Choices that they are making are not the most optimum choices. And so how do we ensure that we are able to hear these people, see these people, and to make policies that will keep these communities going? I see sometimes, we use this word empowerment, and even this also for me is a term that at times is very difficult to come to terms with, because are we talking about empowerment because we have removed power from them and we're now trying to put power back in their hands? Or are we empowering them for the future? Are we providing them with tools that they are better equipped to deal with the future? Again, two terms that come to my mind, and again that they are being used so frequently nowadays. Everything that you hear, whether it's from the government, whether it's from the industry, everybody is talking of scale. Everybody is talking about speed of change. But these are small communities. How do we ensure that in this fast changing world outside, that they are still a community that is recognized? It is still a community that is communities that are appreciated. And so I share with you a little bit about the communities that we are working with. They form a very small percentage even in this mountain ecosystem. They used to grow millet for their own consumption. They were collecting from the forest. They used to collect honey, nuts, yam, and many other roots. What was very interesting was that they had a system of barter which was maybe just 4 or 5 decades ago. And this system of barter is extremely unique because it worked on a very functional basis. You had an item that another community required. There was a functional value to that product, and that surplus that you had, you exchange with that community. What has happened over the last few decades is that we have this cash economy which has sort of bulldozed its way into our lives. And this cash economy now pushes these communities to be able to convert everything into cash and then negotiate with the market. And that at times is extremely difficult for these people. And so, as I see many times, in our scenario, the political systems are also changing. And how do these communities adapt to these scenarios? So we have created an ecosystem of institutions. We have a non-profit which works on development issues with these communities. We have created a producer company which works with the communities at the back end to empower them, to strengthen them, to build capacities for them. We also have created a forward linkage company, which is a private social enterprise, and that is able to try and merge and fill that gap to the market. And so all I want to say is that in this engagement that is there today, that we need to be able to create systems that recognizes these communities, that is able to provide spaces for them, and that we don't lose this biodiversity of culture, language, produce that comes out from these communities. And so I stop here, and we see a small film that has been made a few months ago, and it will show you from the market end how we work with these communities. So I try and share my screen. Hopefully it works. Yeah. Can you hear?
Honey harvesting is mainly done by the Kurumba community of Nilgris, and they do it during the season of April to June.
சார் என் பேர் சின்னசாமி சார், அணில்காடு. அப்புறம் இடுக்குறள் நாங்கள் அந்த காலத்தில் இருந்து ஒரு 70-80 வருஷத்தில் வாழ்ந்துட்டு தான் இருக்கோம் இங்கே. அதனால நம்ம காட்டு மூலிகை, அது தேன், அது இதெல்லாம் எடுத்து நம்ம ஜீவனத்துக்கு சாப்பிட்டு வந்து வாழ்ந்துட்டுருக்கோம் சார். இந்த கிழங்கு அது இது எல்லாமே. அதனால நம்ம இதை வச்சு நாம் முன்னேறிட்டு அப்படியே கொஞ்சம் ஆஃபீஸுக்கு கொஞ்சம் நம்ம வைத்த இதுக்கு வச்சுட்டு வாழ்வாதாரத்துக்கு வச்சுட்டு கொஞ்சம் ஆஃபீஸு அது இதுக்கு கொடுத்து நாங்கள் விற்று இது பண்ணிகிட்ருக்கோம் சார்.
Honey hunting communities have been practicing this activity for thousands of years. Culture and tradition form very much an integral part of this activity. What this also ensures is that the environment is preserved in a much more holistic manner. that this activity can go on repetitively year after year for generations to come. Hi, I'm Matthew. I'm one of the co-founders as well as the managing director of Last Forest Enterprises. Last Forest is based in Kotigri, a small town which is in the Nilgri Biosphere Reserve. Nilgri Biosphere Reserve is a part of the Western Ghats, which is one of the lungs of this country. Today it works along with its sister organization Adimale. It's a producer company which consists of over 1600 producers and is able not only works with honey but with many other forest produce.
So at Adimale we procure produce from the indigenous community from around 3000 families at 160 villages, and all these produces are being procured, value added and then marketed through Last Forest Enterprise. So the procurement and value addition happens through Adimale in the community centers where women are working primarily.
So our main product is honey, which we call as the flagship product. We started with honey, and even now honey is what keeps us going actually.
This is one such product where people come back to the product, and there's a lot of advantages. It's natural and it is not filtered. People have been converting from sugar and artificial sweeteners to honey for their teas and for their other dishes, and it has been such a healthy alternative, so everybody enjoys, and it's a great product to sell.
Apart from honey, which is the flagship product of Last Forest, we also value add beeswax. Beeswax was earlier thrown away, but today it is value added into a range of products, personal care products, which is balms, lip balms, soaps, and recently beeswax food wraps.
இந்த 12 பேர் வேலை செய்கிற இடத்துல வந்துட்டு சோப்பு செய்கிறவங்க, லிப்பாம் செய்கிறோம். அப்புறம் எங்கள் ஏரியாவில் கிடைக்கிற ஜாதிக்காய் கிடைக்கிறது, அதில் அந்த மேல் தோல் வச்சுட்டு ஊறுகாய் பிக்கிள் பண்ணுறோம். அடுத்தது கேண்டி செய்கிறவங்க. அப்புறம் வருஷத்தில் வந்துட்டு எங்களுக்கு சீகக்காய் மனம் ஈட்டிக்கிறோம். செய்யும்போது நிறையா வேலைக்கு அங்கேயும் வெளியில் அலையாமல் இங்கே எங்களுக்கு வருமானம் தர அளவுக்கு இருக்கும். குழந்தைங்களோட செலவு, படிப்பு செலவு, எங்களுடைய வாழ்வாதாரத்தை நாங்கள் பாதுகாக்கிற மாதிரி இருக்கோம்.
Last Forest was the Seed Low Carbon Award winner in 2014, and what it did at that point, the grant, it enabled us to expand and build our portfolio. Pantry, as part of its business model, Last Forest ensures that a part of the profits go back to the producers. What this does is it ensures that the communities continue to have a stake in the environment. We've also seen over the past year that there is a set of customers outside this country who are extremely in love with these products. Their purchase ensures that
I think maybe the video is not able to load, and I stop here then. Maybe I close the talk, and if there's any questions, we will deal with that later. Yeah. Back to you, Li Feng.
Okay, thank you, Matthew. I think there's always a lot for the youth to learn from our pioneers. So to successfully sustain a smallholder-based food supply system, or even our agro system, it really needs the wisdom and also the skills. And if you are still doubting yourself, am I in the right direction? I think maybe we can also listen to our great teacher, Conrad Hauptfleisch, and so he will give us the the speech on the role of the smallholders and the youth in the food systems. And welcome, Conrad, and our great teacher, and always give us a lot of inspiration. Yeah.
Thank you, Li Fang. It's so good to see you again. It's been a while that we haven't met. I haven't been in my third home, which is Asia, now for some months, and hopefully I will be there soon. Yeah, it's really great to be here, and it's really great to share the stories and to hear from everybody. And good to see again the pictures from Nilgri, where I have still not been, and I need to get there at some stage. I'm also going to do a presentation. It's always easier for me to work from some pictures, so I will share my screen now. I will share. I just need to get the share. It's a little bit slow, the internet. But yes, we're talking about while that's getting ready to share. Yeah, the role of smallholders and youth in the food system. That's what we're talking about today, and how we can do that. I have now shared that screen, and now I'll start my my presentation. Yeah, there we go. You should see my presentation in a bit. You know, when we talk about the role of smallholders and youth in the food system and what we can do to change the food system, I always like to start with a story. I would like to start with some quote, something to give us something to hold on to. We often spend time admiring our problems too much. We have a lot of problems. We have a lot of challenges, but there's a time to step back, take a bigger picture, and start thinking about the solutions. On the screen at the moment, you see a little Spanish quote, which I'm just going to read. And I apologize to all the Spanish-speaking people for my Spanish. It says, "Mucha gente pequeña en lugares pequeños, haciendo cosas pequeñas, puede cambiar el mundo." And this is a quote by Eduardo Galeano. And some of you might remember it, that I always start my presentation with this, and it was always in English. And it says something like this: a lot of little people in small places doing little things can change the world. And the picture you see there are children in Isikul in Kyrgyzstan selling sour cherries on the side of the road. And that is part of a local food system. And it's for us to look at this and say, what difference can I make in the scheme of things? And the other question that I always ask when I start a workshop is the question, why? I do it because it matters, because I've learned very early as a teacher from an inspiring young woman in Korea. She challenged me when I made my first very theoretical presentation on organic extension. And she kept on asking why I am teaching them things they already know. And she was so insistent that I got frustrated and I gave up, and I said, okay, well, you tell us why. Tomorrow you will present. And the next day she did a very inspirational presentation, sharing her vision for better food and agriculture systems, and then thanked me for inspiring her. And she then wrote a great training manual after that called Organic Agriculture: The Why, the How, and the What. And I've started with why ever since. You know, when we look at why things are the way they are and why we choose to take an action, then we can really see what really happens and why it happens. And we keep on saying that we need to change the food system. Why do we feel it's necessary to change? Are we clear on why, and are we clear on how? And to help answer that, I would like to look at the current situation. You know, I'm going to use some information from a wonderful publication, Who Will Feed Us? Many other people today in this amazing rolling summit will bring a lot of technical knowledge. But I just want to focus on a few key points for this message. This publication by the ETC group, Who Will Feed Us? The Peasant Food Web, or versus the industrial food chain. I think the title should actually be Who is Feeding Us? Because it tells a very, very clear story that the peasant food web is already feeding us, despite the current belief that it is big agriculture and the corporate food system. In chain versus web, the web wins hands down. But somehow, nobody seems to notice this. The facts show us that 70% of the world's people, their main sole and food providers are the smallholders. The peasant food web produce the food with much less than 25% of the resources. So they are being extremely efficient. At the same time, the industrial food chain that we somehow believe is the big player, they're only the big player because they use most of the resources. 75% of the agricultural resources are used by the industrial food chain, and they are only providing food to less than 30% of the world's people. So smallholders are already providing food extremely efficiently. So the why question is actually not about changing the food system. The real question is why the industrial food system is accepted by so many as the best way to feed us if it isn't. We have the alternative. So the why is, why doesn't it have more support amongst key decision makers? Don't they know about it? Or do they know and they don't believe in it? Or do they know and choose not to support it? And this is what we, as the youth and the smallholders, should focus on. How can we get more people to support this change? And how can we get youth and smallholders to support a global change towards a food system that is based on this peasant food web? I think those are the right questions to ask. How can we shift the balance? The 70-30 question is central here. If smallholders are currently feeding 70% of the population with less than 30% of the resources, what would happen if they just have access to another 10% of the resources? That could be an incredible shift. So a small shift, a small leverage can make a massive difference. And that's where we have to think around it. We should look at what we collectively can do. One is that we really have to try and get out of the echo chambers. We really have to not just talk to the people who have already been convinced. We have a lot of networking, sharing stories and experiences with each other. We need to get out of that. We need to share those stories outside. We need to burst the bubble. We need to bring our stories of the fireside, our stories of our meetings and our training and our farms to the boardrooms and the conference halls, because the smallholders need recognition. They need an effective platform to tell their stories and to share their knowledge. Because not every smallholder is equally efficient or equally productive. The reality is that certain traditional practices that used to be sustainable are no longer appropriate under new conditions. But the best tools in our toolbox were and always be knowledge, communication, resilience. In the traditional communities, every opportunity was one of learning and knowledge sharing. And this circle around the fire, the storytelling, the lifelong learning in the field, the fact that family and tribe and community were embedded in a food system, this needs to go out there. It needs to get out of the NGOs, out of the development agencies, out of the UN think tanks, and into the streets, so to speak, in a way. And what can smallholders specifically do? I think smallholders must look at this and say, we're doing well. We must keep doing what we are doing well. The ability to grow food in marginal soils in difficult circumstances with limited resources. That's a very inspiring lady on the picture there that I met 2,500 meters up in Ethiopia, growing some amazing food. Is not to give up and to learn how to do the things that they're not doing that well better, to learn new skills, to be open to new skills, to be continuously adaptable. It's, to me, very important that everybody should also increase and improve their level of organic knowledge. In our organic definition, it says it very loud and clear. Organic agriculture combines tradition, innovation, and science to benefit the shared environment. So smallholders can do well to improve the adoption of appropriate innovation and technology and scientific development to address the challenges. And finally, I think a very important thing is to increase their understanding of the food system beyond the farm gate or beyond the village crossroads. The global village is a reality, and the industrial food chain is becoming so dominant in so many parts of the world is because they dominate the discourse, they dominate the conversation at the highest level, pretending to speak for all of us. And the peasant food web needs to learn what they don't know and become part of that discourse at every level. Eating is an agricultural act. So the role of us, what we must also understand is that we are all eaters, and the eaters are in government, the eaters are in the universities, they are in our families. Many little people in many little places that can change the way they eat, change the food system, support the peasant food web, and move forward. So the smallholders on the one side, and smallholders are not small, they are amazingly big. And then the youth. You know, youth and smallholders, they're not mutually exclusive. Many young people are farmers, and hopefully more of you will be. And the youth are also eaters. They are also people who can make a decision to purchase, to consume organic food coming out of a short supply chain that empowers smallholder farmers. And every young person can make the decision to grow organic food. I looked up a lot of quotes as I was preparing for this speech, and also got one of Greta Thunberg, where she said, we cannot solve a crisis without treating it as a crisis. That is real. We are in a crisis situation. We have an ecosystem crisis. We have a climate crisis. And if the solutions within the system are so impossible to find, then maybe we should get out of the system and change the system itself. And I think this is where the youth can really make a difference, because they can use their ability to engage with the new media in a way that us old fogies can't always do. My thumbs are not nimble enough anymore to message as quickly and as nimbly, and our brains are not as nimble. I think that connection to the cyberspace and the way that we work these days, engaging with that also the farming communities, listen to them, hear their voices, share their stories. Very simple. Eat organic. Put your money where your mouth is. And if you're able, be a farmer yourself. If not, support them through your purchasing actions. And then obviously join organizations like the Organic Youth Forum, if you haven't already. It is amazing what these young people are doing, how they are mobilizing, especially in Asia. And if you're out there, join, connect. You know, we often have this thing, we say, it's too difficult, it's too complex. But actually that complexity and that multifaceted part of the food system is what makes it so amazing, because there are opportunities for all. If you're not a farmer, if you are not a teacher, whatever your skill is in marketing, supply, communication, scientific research, you can choose to use that skill to help us develop the food system that will feed us into the next millennium, so that we can grow food that doesn't cost the earth. The peasant food web is efficient, it is effective, and it is feeding 70% for us, but it isn't perfect, and it isn't recognized for its true value. So it's up to all of us to support it, to promote it, and to ensure that we are growing and consuming food that will not cost us the earth. I would like to stop there. I would like to end there with a last thought from one of our earliest pioneers, Masanobu Fukuoka, saying that the ultimate goal of farming is not the growing of crops, but it's the cultivation and the perfection of human beings. And that is what us people, us little people in little places, can do to change, to support the existing functional food system of the peasant food web. Thank you. I enjoyed being here, and I will enjoy listening to the other people even offline. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Teacher Conrad. I think it's always very motivative, and I think after your class we formed our youth forum, and I hope after this speech many of the young smallholders and who are participating in this smallholder-based food system will get inspired again and keep their work forward. So I think also in the practice, actually many of the actions are already be taken. I think here and today we would like to also introduce you some of the best practices and solutions. One of the case we have been selecting for you is from the Philippines. It is a very special story. I hope it will give you some also like very inspiration for your further work, because this is really when I first know about this case, I got so surprised, and it's very special, let's say. And this is from our Mayor Romeo Eduardo of the Consolangan city in the Philippines. So he will share a video for this. It is the building the peace through the organic agriculture.
Year 2000, may gera din dito at doon sa mismong barangay namin dumaan yung mga MILF. Kami yung generation ng mga bata na kumbaga pag may putukan, nag-tremble na kami at natatakot po. Sasakay kami ng bangka para makaalis kami sa mismong lugar namin. Tapos parang hahabol yung mga bala papunta doon sa sinasakyan naming mga bangka.
I was one of the victims during the MILF siege here in Causuagan, Lanao del Norte. Kaya nakita ko yung kahirapan dito sa aming munisipyo kasi taga dito talaga ako.
Parang naging ghost town na yung municipality since year 2000 dahil there was a mass evacuation.
Yung mga bata hindi makapag-aral kaya nakabakwit sila. Walang mananalo sa gira. Ang matalo talaga ang sibilyan.
Para sa akin, ang gera is madilim na karanasan.
Pumunta kami sa mga pinakaliblib yung mga tinatawag natin na areas of conflict. So, pinakinggan lang namin yung mga tao, yung mga farmers, yung mga marginal lesser folks, lahat-lahat, women's sector.
Transformation was very hard. When I came in, poverty incidence is almost at 80%, at 79.7%. And I know there's a lot of work needs to be done.
So, natapos namin within 2 months for the 13 barangays yung Peace Paths Workshop. Bumuo kami ng tinatawag na problem tree analysis. Meron kaming nilagay na vision, a peaceful and well-developed municipality.
We established a framework of governance which we called SICAD-PA.
Sustainable, Integrated, Causuagan Area Development and Peace Agenda.
That is multitasking peace and economic development.
Hindi talaga peace and order ang doon sa mga output ng ating mga tao. Talagang sikmura, pagkain.
It's more on hunger and of course poverty that comes with it. First of all, we have to address health and wellness, which is organic agriculture and nothing else.
Si Mayor, ginawa niya na ang flagship program niya, farming talaga at fishing. And it's not just an ordinary farming, it's an organic way of farming.
Dito nag-start sa farm na ito yung vision niya kung anong gagawin sa Causuagan. We just started with 1 block of vermicomposting facility.
Shifting from the conventional farming to organic, nakakatulong yun because we can apply those indigenous method of doing farming.
Lahat ng mga vegetable seeds ay binibigay natin sa tulong ng Department of Agriculture and of course yung mga training courses din na binibigay ng Agricultural Training Institute.
Sa goat production, yung goat binibigay namin sa farmers para gamit nila para makapadami din sila yung breeding. Meron tayong fertilizer production. Yun yung vermicomposting natin, ma'am. Meron din tayong bokashi, ma'am. Korean technology na fertilizer, ma'am. Ang ingredients, ma'am, is iti ng manok, yung chicken dung, yung kokopit, tapos rice hull, tapos carbonized rice hull. Sinasama-sama yun, ma'am, para gawing bukase. Ang produce nito ma'am, binibenta po namin sa labas ma'am. Meron tayong tinatawag na OTP ma'am, Organic Trading Post. Lahat po ng napaproduce dito ma'am, dinidisplay para ibenta.
Organic agriculture technology, yun ang introduce namin sa kanila. It really changed the hearts, it really changed the mindset of our rebel returnees.
When we created or established the SINAGPA, I was able to think of the program Arms to Farms. No surrendering of firearms. What you have to surrender is your heart. Because if you want real peace, it has to be coming from the heart.
Back to zero. Yung mga pamilya ko, yung mga anak ko, wala sila makain. Tinuturuan ng magtanom, kahit anong tanom, tinuturuan. O palay, mais, kahit anong kuha, inituro sa mga tawa namin. Binigay kami ng mga kabaw at saka baka, mga kuliglig, mga bini. Wala kami problema.
So, maganda ngayon. Dito namin makahanap ang magandang buhay sa pamilya.
Dito sa areang cover ng Arms to Farm, masaya ang mga iminilip dito. Dahil natutulungan sila, hindi nagugutom ang tao, lagi sa kanya ang peace.
Make these rebels feel that they belong to the government, that there is a government that takes care of them. For a long period of time, decades and decades, they had been discriminated.
We can plant any time without any hesitations, without any fears. So that's why the production increases, and the Arms to Farms really help a lot, not only for farming, actually ang peace and order in Kauswagan.
Noong una, wala akong superior sa pagdala ng baril. Ngayon ako, wala akong superior sa pagdala ng pala.
Maraming nasiyahan sa ginagawa ko dahil sabi nila, imposible na magagawa ko to dahil napakasama ko daw ang tao noon. Minsan naiyak ako dahil siguro mapapatawad ako ng Diyos na. Once nga you are organic farmers, so forever na yun. Sa organic na talagang makakabuti yan sa ating health talaga na parang walang toxic sa ating katawan. Sa amin talaga ma'am is the different kind of fruit trees. Like for example, the durians, the mangosteen, the lansones, the coconut, jackfruits or corn, especially the rice, yung palay. So melon, kalabasa. Actually different kind of lettuce. Radish. Dahan-dahan nakikita nila itong lugar namin na ngayon progresibo na ngayon.
Dati kami membro ng MILF. Dumating yung kampanya ng organic agriculture bilang alkalde si Mayor Mil Arnado. Then sabi ni Mayor, kung totoo kang magsasaka, magbibili ako ng lupang 7 hektarya. Oo. Then kayo na ang mag-develop. Kumuha ng recommendation si Mayor bilang local farmer technician. Then ipinadala niya ako sa Bukidnon. Then partnership nila yung ATI. Oo, sila ang nagbigay sa amin turo, kaalaman paano i-compose yung organic fertilizer. So ngayon isa po ako sa nag-produce ng vermicast.
We have a goal to be food sufficient, and we envision to give safe and healthy food for our people here in Kauswagan. So under sa Arms to Farms, andyan yung solid foundation ng Organic Agriculture Program. And then we received in 2014 National Organic Agriculture Achievers Awards, LGU category, champion. And we also received the Galing Puok Award, champion din in 2014, and Literacy Award in 2014. A year after, constant winner ng Literacy Award.
On 2015, there was an invitation and they made us as an entry to the UCLG UN-sponsored program in Bogota, Colombia. There were 5 winners. They awarded it to us, the first prize, the best. There was no second prize. Since we need to educate and skill the people, we decided to establish our own school.
There is a certain program that we are having right now. Among the beneficiaries are the youth. Yan yung DLRS POA or the Training for Organic Agriculture are the beneficiaries of our Arms to Farms program po.
This is the only school in the province that offers agriculture. He offered a scholarship grant to poor but deserving students and allowance of 1,000 a month. So as much as possible, every barangay will give one scholar. The municipality has 30 barangays, so we have 30 scholars. 20% ang Muslim students. Even in the school, ma'am, they take the responsibility. They have the guardian at the back. So they use the vermi, they prepare the soil for planting. Hands-on sila man. After that, they go to the farm for immersion.
We have a lot of program for the youth. We are now trying to implement in the curriculum organic agriculture.
Balay Silangan is a reformatory program focused on reforming or instilling moral recovery and reformation on drug offenders.
Dito sa Balay Silangan, ang napapasok dito is iba-iba. No? Pinakabata ko dito is 16 at saka pinakamatanda is 54. May iba mayayaman, may iba mahirap, yung iba is may kapansanan. Actually, wala kami pinipili dito. As long as willing sila na linisin yung pangalan nila, willing sila mag-undergo sa program, tinatanggap naman.
Aside from the drug offenders, we also conducted orientation or education campaign or information and education campaign on the family of the drug offenders and how to handle them back. Because that's usually the problem when you release the reformee. Anong gagawin nila sa buhay nila afterwards? How will the society accept them back? Ano yung magiging opportunity nila outside the facility?
At saka after that, meron din kaming TESDA, yung ALS.
As you can see, gardening yung focus dito sa Balay Silangan because part of the reformatory program of Balay Silangan is central on the agricultural program of the municipality. Organic farming talaga. Iba yung development pag nag-start sa organic farming. As you can see, we were able to establish peace.
Not only that we are encouraging people to go back to school, but we are also giving them skills. Capacitation is the key to our success. Those that are high school graduates, we offer a national certificate. But our basic skill here, which includes everyone here, is to learn how to do organic farming.
Pray po lahat, ma'am, ang mga nag-cater ni Mayor because to give skills for those one is skilled. Skills, electrical, basic electricity, housekeeping services, cosmetology, carpentry, masonry, heavy equipment operator, pipe fitter, motor mechanic, in situ, welding. Yung cookery, yung culinary, dressmaking, curtain making, massage therapy. Informal school, they are obliged to attend the school daily. But in the ALS, kami po ang mag-adjust sa mga learners. Ano ba ang free time ninyo para doon ako magturo? Face to face. Sir, malayo yung distansya namin, sir, kaya kami hindi nakatapos. Okay, puntahan namin yung area.
Yung asawa ko, Kafgo, hindi siya makababa. Doon lang siya lagi sa bundok, sa na-assignan niya. Ako ang nag-discarte kung anong makain namin. Kasi magulo, iyan illiteracy ang inaral ko. At the same times, nag-enroll ako sa massage therapy at saka maintenance services. Pagkatapos, ma'am, nang nakagraduate na ako, niipon-ipon ko yung pera nga, nakita ko. 2018, ma'am, kasi 2015, 17 kami nakahulog ng lupa. Nakatayo kami kaagad, ma'am. Ipon-ipon ko lang ng ang pinakamalaking pinasasalamatan ko ng Panginoon, yung bahay at lupa nga amin. Hindi ko nakuha sa 3 taon at kalahati nga nagtrabaho ko sa Kuwait, pero nakuha ko 1 taon lang sa massage therapy nga nag-aaral ako, ma'am, at saka yung sa maintenance services na inipon-ipon kong pira.
Then sometimes, ma'am, pag magklase kami, meron din magbitbit ng baril. Minsan ilagay sa ilalim. Kakausapin natin nga, yung punta ko doon hindi gira. Sila ang mag-conduct ng values.
Tinanong ko si Sir anong mga kurso sa ALS na minsan may electrical. Minsan wala akong pera. Yung bahay akong kapitan dito sa Dilabayan, yung bahay niya gusto niyang ipa-wiring. Narinig niya na isa po akong graduated sa ALS. So tinawagan po niya ako, kaya mo ba itong bahay ko? Sabi ko, tatawagan ko yung instructor namin. Kami ang nag-contract. So dahil doon, 1 week po kami nagtrabaho, may 6,000 po na ako. Dahil sa ALS, kaya gusto ko talaga ng ALS. Napakalaki po ang naitulong niya sa amin. Yung mga kapitbahay ko, sabi ko sa kanila, mag-aral tayo kahit matanda tayo, mag-aral pa rin. 3 kaming passer dito. Nag-aral pa kami, nag-aral pa rin kami. Dressmaking, yun ang hinihintay ko ngayon. So ngayon, nakatulong ang ALS kasi ang Muslim ngayon o ang Christian nag-iisa na ngayon. Hindi tulad sa unang panahon na hindi kami nakapag-aral ng maayos at saka yung mga anak namin kasi permanente yung gera. So ngayon, wala na.
MAPSI is the Municipal Agriculture and Fisheries Council. As of now, we have about 30 members comprising of farmers and fisher folks. And we interact with the Department of Agriculture.
Ang fish processors po, maasawa po kami ng mga mangingisda. Ang association namin is galing sa walang-wala po. Then ngayon, marami na kami natutunan. Marunong na din kami makihalubilo kasi nagpupunta po kami ng mga seminars dahil po sa pagiging namin, nagkakaroon ng association ng ganito. And nakatulong din sa hanap buhay.
So we have God's perfect creation. We have our mangrove, our seagrasses, and our coral reefs. We have abundance of fishes. Then, yung mga mananagat po natin, binibigyan po natin sila ng livelihood such as fishing gears.
As of now, ma'am, we have 3 functional fishing tourists. As a result, okay naman yung resulta, dumadami yung isda natin.
The world is getting high-tech. And the youth will not pay attention if you're not dealing with computers. How we could enhance and make them work in the farm is to go on mechanization. The youth are being trained for it. When we are going to launch the mechanization, it will be the youth that will be doing it. Because monitoring is done through computers. We will be using drones to monitor the plants.
As a millennial, we're used to using our technology, no? If we are going to advertise, dapat hindi na tayo maging ganito. So we use social media as a platform that we could be able to influence, no, through posting it on social media.
This is a different type of tourism.
Meron talagang tinatawag na historical at cultural tourism. It's a tourism na potential that we will be showcasing what we have of the past and then how we transform it into a peaceful and progressive municipality. Kaya nga malaki ang transformation, even the public incidents. From almost 80% naging 41%. And then for 2018 sa CBMS namin naging 9.1% na yun, a single digit.
Kauswagan is a municipality which started from fire and destruction. Like a phoenix from the fire. As you can see, iba na talaga, ibang-iba yung Kauswagan.
Sikat ba, Kauswagan?
Inviting the people to come over to see the transformation of this municipality. If we can do it in this place, they can do it very well in their place as well.
I was personally in Kaswanga city for 2 times, and yeah, I've been doing organic for quite a long time, and I think when I get the food prepared from the former commander, and I get the coconut water prepared from him, this was the first time I really realized how important the food system can mean to a society, and I really give the best wishes to the Kaswanga city. And I think this case is not only in Kaswanga, but for the small holders and for the local community is also applied in many, many different countries. And here we are going to invite our next speaker, Miyushi from Japan. And Miyushi Satoko is our newly elected IFORM World Board member. And also she was one of the very important founding member of our iFormation Organic Youth Forum. So I will give the floor to Miyushi for the local organic for locals and minimize the food system to maximize the value. Miyushi, please.
Okay, thank you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, yes? Okay. I hope you can hear me. So now I'm trying to share my screen. Okay, so I hope everybody is no problem to hear me. Lifan, do you hear me okay?
I can hear you.
Okay, good. So I can start. Thank you, Lifan. And thank you, organizers, for hosting this important session. My name is Miyoshi. I live in Chiba Prefecture in Japan. And I will introduce tonight some of the project I am working on. Okay. So, and you see the screens, okay? I hope so.
Not yet.
Not yet.
We can see you, but not your PowerPoint.
Okay. I'm having some trouble of the screen, so maybe I will start talking and hopefully you can see my screen. Now maybe it's waiting. It says it's waiting. I already pushed the button of the share screen, but I don't know. How about this?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. If the tech team can open my PowerPoint file from the drive and share the screen, maybe that will help. But if not, I will just speak this time. Yeah. Okay. So while, I don't want to waste the time. So maybe I just go on speaking. I try to explain by words. So in Japan, we have many issues. We're facing some issues, especially in the farming area. And we have the decline of the population as a whole country, and as well as farmer population. And that leads to the abandon of the farmland. So not many people can take care of the farmland anymore because of the, the decline of population and also aging. And we call it Satoyama in Japanese. And the Satoyama is that area that has been maintained, the ecosystem with harmony of nature and human activity, like agriculture and forestry. So we need more farmers and people living in Satoyama area to maintain that ecosystem. But there are many barriers for those new farmers to start and keep farming. And one of the biggest reason or barrier is economical stability. Not many farmers face, they cannot earn enough money, so they will stop farming. And also another issue of Japan we face is we have a very low self-sufficiency rate. So more than 60%, 60 to 70% of food we eat in this country is imported. And, less farmers and more food imported, and no one is maintaining the land, our land. It's a big issue. And on the other hand, many consumers willing to buy ethical products, including local products or organic products. But sometimes 80 or more % of new farmers says they are willing to grow their produce organically. So that's the good sign. And also this year, the Ministry of Agriculture in Japan, they set a new strategy to target 25% of our farmland under organic management by 2050. So it's quite ambitious, but it's good sign at the same time. But we don't know yet how we can achieve that ambitious goal. So that's something we are working on. And as I said, I live in the Chiba Prefecture. It's next to Tokyo, which is the big metropolitan area, and 1 hour far from there. And we set up the organization which called LOSAC, Local Organic Sato Association Chiba. And together with the local governments, farmers associations and farmers, individual farmers, retailers and co-ops, we had established this organization to support locally grown organic. And we trying to make this prefecture as a home of organic. Okay, and yeah, I made some picture, but let me explain. Okay, so in Japan now, the food distribution system, it requires bigger volume of same size of vegetables, and it goes to the it requires a long distance by truck driving, and they goes to the central market, big market in Tokyo, located in Tokyo. And a lot of time, even the vegetable grow in next door to me, they all go to the central market to Tokyo, and they come back and sold in the store nearby. So it's kind of wasting, and they just go around and drive in, and they made the price of the vegetable at the central market and coming back to where they grow up, actually. So our challenge, the challenge is to how we can make this shorter. We call it micro distribution model. So why not we produce vegetable here, and why not we should sell that near a store nearby. So we use the system of Veggie Bus. We call it vegetable bus, Veggie Bus. So Veggie Bus is it's just a small truck, and it's stopped to the bus stop. The bus stop is we can create the bus stop. It can be a storage of the farmers, or it can be some small stores. So small farmer can bring their produces, and they put at the bus stop. They store at the bus stop. So the bus driver come and pick those up, and they drive around, and they finally deliver to the store close to where the produce was produced. So,
you excuse me to disturb. I think your PowerPoint is on the screen, so you can tell me to change the slides. Yeah.
Okay, that's good. You see it? I don't know how you see it.
I can see it.
Okay, good. Maybe there's some delay, but I just show it. The micro distribution model. It says micro distribution model. Okay, but good anyway. So the small farmers can only produce small volume of vegetable and variety of vegetable. So they can bring to the bus stop nearby, and the bus pick up those vegetables into the store. So this is one example is happening. Maybe some of you have seen this Muji. Muji is now global big retailer, but they have store in many places. And this Muji store is near my house, and they sell the locally and organically produced salad mix, and which was brought by Veggie Bus. And also within this micro distribution model, we try to make many circular system. On the right hand, it's a composting system. So they collect the food loss from local restaurants, local supermarket. The waste come to this compost facility and they make a compost. And as you see, this whitish compost, it's covered by a lot of microbes, and it's very good compost for the farmers. So the farmer can use this compost, and as you see on the left, the farmer can grow the vegetable. And this farm at the left, I hope you can see the picture. They use the solar system above the farm, and they can create the solar energy, and they can charge their weeding tools because this is running with the power, and they can charge from the solar system of the farm. So one of challenging. And I think we already discussed, and many people already mentioned, but we should change this system, distribution system, food system, farming system, in order to transform this world toward create a sustainable society. And I found this smaller distribution system will support organic farmer, smallholders, because it requires only small lot or batch of produces. So if the longer and bigger distribution system, they always requires farmers to have same size, same kind and big volume of vegetables. But with this smaller distribution system, it can be variety, diverse of vegetable and seasonal and fresh vegetables. And that brings farmers more flexibility of their business and more resilience in terms of the, sometimes you're producing only 1 or 2 crops, something happen and they will lose that year. So that it's more flexible and stable. And this kind of model of farming, which is diversity and seasonal and small, it's kind of advantage of organic farming. And this is also good for the smallholders, not only farmer, but also consumers, and the consumer is, I consider them as a small holders within the food system. And they can have more choice. They can have more feeding to or knowledge of the farmer because they're growing the next door. It's not from very far, from overseas or something you don't have any connection to it. But within the small system, local distribution system, production system, consumer can know the season because they are living in the same season. They can kind of see, or they can even meet the farmers. So they can feel more value to buying those locally grown organic food. Okay, that's the end of my presentation. And thank you so much. Thank you for your attention. I hope you could see my presentation. Sorry about that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Miyushi. I think it's really informative for us. And also, I think today we are also very happy to have our another newly elected IFOM World Board member, Shamika, in our presentation here. So Shamika is not just leading in the internationally, but also she's really a practitioner in the field. So now I will give my floor to Shamika and on the smallholders and the seed movement. Shamika, please.
Yes, thank you, Li Feng. I hope the video or slides are coming, but if not, let me know. But I will still continue. I guess. Okay. Okay, I just start speaking and the thing will come up soon in a minute. So yeah, thanks for this floor actually. And it's important because when we talk about the food systems, it's important what seeds go in making the food. And the traditional seeds have helped us to understand over the years that the traditional seeds which are adaptable to the local conditions and the local dynamics helps it to be pest resistant as well as tolerant to a lot of stress conditions that may come in. So traditional seeds is where I have been working with the seed keepers in India and the organic farmers who have kept the traditional seeds alive over generations. um, yeah, so I would like to present my work here, and let me
Hello and warm
the video
welcome
will
to
soon
this
come in.
Global People's Summit that's going to happen for 24 hours, covering different regions, different perspectives on food, and how to make changes in the existing food systems that will affect all. To this Global People's Summit that's going to happen for 24 hours, covering different regions, different perspectives on food, and how to make changes in the existing food systems that will affect all the people. I am Shamika Mone, a researcher turned organic farmer, being also the president of Inofo, representing more than 2.5 million organic farmer families and organic farming organizations around the globe, covering Asia, Africa, Latin America, North America, Oceania, Pacifica, and Europe. Here I would like to share a few of my experiences while working with organic farmers and seed keepers around the world. Just to begin, I hope you can see my screen. Yeah, just to share what I wanted to say on traditional seeds, I would just make my screen. Yeah, I hope you can see now. So the work on traditional seeds started in OFI, Organic Farming Association of India, to document the traditional seeds. Yeah, I would like to just give a small quick introduction on why it is important to document the traditional seed diversity that exists with farmers and with seed keepers around the world. Just to give an example, you all know how India and Pakistan fought legal battles on Basmati patent on Basmati rice against an American company. The American company was able to justify its identity with different 14 points on aroma, length of the grain, its cooking abilities, etc., etc. But Indian or Pakistanis who have been eating this Basmati rice for years together were not able to prove this in the court of law that this particular variety of rice existed in this belt of India, Pakistan over the years and is a public prior knowledge, because we failed to also show it on a piece of paper. Even the agricultural research institutes in India failed to do so that time. But India did win a battle on turmeric by proving it to be a prior public knowledge. The credit goes to the CSIR, that is the Council of Scientific and Industrial Research in India, who had a proof in the Sushruta Sanhita, which shows about the fungicidal properties of turmeric. Thankfully, this was translated into English by a Harvard professor, and we could prove in the court of law that turmeric, with its antifungal properties, was in the public knowledge in the country for more than 1500 years. And the patent bid was then subsequently withdrawn. The point to state that is that in this world where we are, we are aware of the intellectual property rights. And as organic farmers, we are conserving traditional seeds over the years and passing on the knowledge to the next generation to generation. Yeah, so it's important to document the traditional seed varieties that we have and the enormous knowledge that the organic farmers have with themselves with the traditional seeds. And this all knowledge documentation, I started documenting through OFI because of an earnest call that came in the OFI office asking, especially for the organic farmers, they could not access the organic traditional cotton seeds when there was a massive over marketing of the BT cotton varieties in the market. When we started to document, we also understood the different regions of the Vavilov centers of diversity, where the diversity is also the center of origin of different species. Now here you can see the diversity between species, the brinjals, the tomatoes, the mangoes, the brinjals, the okras and whatnot. Here's the brinjal and pumpkin diversity. This is within the species, different species. And this is tomatoes within the species again. Between chilies, okra, lady's finger. Now who created all this diversity? The diversity of wild varieties happened in the nature through natural selection. But the domestication of these wild varieties happened by human beings or the farmers who actually, with their observation skills, were able to domesticate the wild varieties with big inedible seeds, for example, banana, wild banana, into dramatically into varieties without any single seed, the bananas that we have in the market, for example. There is as you can see in the picture, there are diversity of bananas like this without a single seed. And this was all created by the organic farmers over the years. Yeah, so I tried to document traditional seeds across different states of India. I will not go into the details of it. But what I observed in the documentation that I did all across India showed that actually organic farms and organic farmers are multiversities of knowledge. They were not only proficient in the traditional seeds knowledge, but were also doing multi-cropping, maintaining the soil health, conserving the traditional variety.
Yeah, so it seems there's also some internet issues at different places. But yeah, what I was saying there is that that all the diversity of seeds that we see and were created by the organic farmers in different states, I try to document them. And I then go through the different pictures. Actually, that's what I wanted to show. So maybe I can try to share my screen to just show some pictures. Can you see my screen?
Noted.
Now can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah, so basically I was explaining here the multiversity of organic farms and farmers and how they contribute in making seeds, the traditional diversity and the farm innovations that they have, along with the cultural significance of the traditional seeds. Here you can see is a typical organic small family farm in India. This particular picture is India, but its similar situation is there in all parts of India. And if I had not put the names there, it would literally feel that it's a forest. But that's how that is the balance and synergy building between different plants within a organic farm. So I don't know how much time is left, but I will just go through some of the seed keepers to just show the diversity that they have contributed in India. Here is a farm from Rajni Bhai. As you can see, the left is an organic farm where he grows peanuts, and the right side is his brother's farm where he does use chemicals. So you can see the color difference also in his organic farm. Also, the groundnut variety that he developed called Krishna has more oil content, as you can see. And also on the right side is the same variety which has more oil content. It has more number of the root nodules. He also made some interesting wheat varieties where we can make interesting Indian bread. Then there are some case studies in Gujarat where people documented the traditional seeds, but over the years they have been lost because of the rampant advertisement for hybrid and GMO seeds. Um, then there are many states where farmers are actually saving seeds as a matter of pride in Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, and many parts of different states actually in pockets. In Madhya Pradesh, we have Babulal Dahiya. He is a seed keeper and also a conservator of folk literature. He was trying to conserve the local dialect Baheli and folk literature associated with it, and actually understood that it's not only the literature but the traditional seeds are getting lost over the years. And so he started documenting and cultivating the traditional seeds on his farm. He's an excellent writer by himself, and he recently received the highest civilian award in India, the Padma Shri. And yeah, he is being working fantastically on traditional seeds and supports everybody and shares his seeds. There is a participatory effort in Maharashtra through Biosphere Foundation, where they are actually with the community. They decide on the selection process of a specific variety, and that's an interesting venture going forward, where they have also developed some unique rice varieties by different farmers. Then there's also some wild edible foods that you can see in the left down. That's interesting, very interesting tastes. And we have an yearly festival for that as well. There are many stories, and I cannot forget Cobra Gade, the HMT man, as we call him. He recently passed away, but he had made an interesting variety of rice. And he tried to present it to the Punjab Rao Krishi Vidyapeeth, where actually the Vidyapeeth or the university said that it's not that great, you need to do more research on it. And they took the samples from him, but told them that it needs more research. But later, next year, they brought the same variety out and just named it as PKV HMT. It was a case of theft, but later on, it was known and acknowledged that it was a variety developed by Cobra Gade, and now it is being spread all over India in different states. And we are also growing this variety on our farm this year. Okay, I don't think we have much time, so I'll just run through the slides. But very interesting people and worth mentioning all of them actually. But I'll just show you some pictures of the varieties that we have developed. I mean, there's one person named Vijay Jardari, and I cannot miss him at all because he was one of the pioneer members who started the Beach Bachao Andolan in the very early 19th century. So yeah, he has been conserving the traditional rajma varieties or the kidney bean varieties, and I'm sure no one of you have seen this kind of diversity. And this is the badami color diversity, the violet color diversity, the green color diversity, the red color diversity. We have just seen one of these kinds in India majoritarily, but he has different shades of it: white colored, yellow colored, and the Naurangi or the cowpeas in Uttarakhand, they are also with different colors and combinations. And the list basically goes on, which I will not show everything of it. But all these seed keepers that we are in India, we do biodiversity festivals to showcase our traditional knowledge and traditional seeds that the organic farmers conserve over the years. And formed a network called as the Bharat Beet Swaraj Manch, that is the seed keepers network in India. And we all try to, this actually helps to strengthen ourselves and protect the traditional seed varieties as an open source document. It's all documented in my book, but it's copy left, open domain, which is accessible to everybody, because we believe that how much ever we try to conserve or protect it, it is the best to keep it in the open source available to everybody, because it's the community knowledge and community seeds which should be kept in for the community going further. So as much as possible, we kept it in the community supported copy left in the domain. And it was all supported from Organic Farming Association of India nationally. And internationally, we do the same thing with the seeds, traditional seeds and organic farmers. This is a seed festival in India. This is a seed festival in Brazil, supported by Rede Covida. And this is a seed festival in Kenya with the Seed Savers Network. But similar gap filling we do for the traditional seeds everywhere. But finally, I love to be a farmer, to be on my farm, and to grow nutritious food for myself and for my community. So yeah, thank you for giving me the support. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Shamika. I think it's really touched a very beautiful point of working with the smallholders community and also the very diversified agro ecosystem. I really love all the PTs you have. So yeah, thank you again. And I think we also have another speaker from our Middle Asia, and he is also one of the founding member of the iFormation Organic Youth Forum. It's Asang Alim Klov, and his work is really how to help the smallholder and to group them, and for the marketing and everything. So let's go to Asang, and this is the empowerment of the farmers in the organic AMAX.
Жерлердің барына селитра удобрение беріледі, жердің бары өстөрүн. Кандайдыр бир катастрофа айланып калган десек болот. Көп тиккен нерселер чыкпай, аны ошол себептен биз органикалык аймакка өткөнбүз.
Кышында бул биокежи бизди окутуп баштады. Анан өзүм каалап дары чөптөрдү терип жүрчүмүн мурун. Анан кийин булар бизге 3 неме боюнча сурадым да. Карендула гүлү, анан жалбыз, анан мышык тамыры. Анан балдарга кошумча кылып бизге 4 бурчактын түрүн, анан кийин сабиз, анан кийин кызыл-кызылча, капуста алып келишти. Анан булар бизге окутушту да, бизди кантип химиялык жол менен эмес, биологиялык жол менен таза өсүмдүктөрдү кантип өстүрөбүз жөнүндө.
Органикалык аймактан койдун кыйын, жылкылардын кыйларын берип, жерлерибизди семиртип өзүбүз таза продукция алганыбызга байланыштуу. Органикалык аймакта кайсыл өсүмдүк кандай өстүрүш керек, кайсы өсүмдүктү кайсыл убакта которулуштуруп тийиш керек, ошол жөнүндө окуткан, окутуп бизди үйрөттү деп айтсак болот.
себорот кылып иштетебиз. Мына эспорт айдайм мен берге 3 жыл, 4 жыл айдайм. Кайра себорот кылып арпа айдайм. Анан кайра себорот кылып 2 жыл картошка айдайм да кайра эспорт, кайра эгин, кайра картошка ошол. Мисалы эспорт айдасаң жерди семирет. Арпа айдасаң жерди жумшартат. Анан картошканын түшүмдүүлүгүн жакшыласың да. Ар кандай продукт айдасаң.
Органика дүйнөсүндө биз бир эле жалаң ген соолукту эле ойлобойбуз. Биз бир эле жалаң жаратылышты ойлобойбуз. Биз бир эле жалаң каада салтты өстүрүп өнүктүрүүнү ойлобойбуз. Биз бир эле жалаң баягы жашообузду эле финансын эле ойлоп калуубуз мүмкүн эмес да. Буда биз комплекстүү бүт жагын алып кетүүбүз керек.
Okay, I think due to some of the connection problem, Asan cannot speak. But I think at least for the youth, what we can do is to deliver the voice of the smallholders and also deliver the very good cases from the local community to our international platform. And yeah, we are looking forward for more work from Asan. And the last case study will be showed by our friends from the Greenpeace Southeast Asia. It's Lo Mercado, and I think Lo, you got upload to say something before your video.
Hi everyone. Again, my name is Lo Mercado. I'm from the Philippines. So I'm actually a volunteer of Greenpeace Southeast Asia. So today I'm actually going to present to you the video of our sustainable community pantry. So community pantry is actually one of the pandemic response of young people here in the Philippines to address hunger. Now, although we believe that this is actually just a band-aid solution, but a lot of Filipinos were able to actually get some food and able to survive through the community pantry initiative. So our community pantry is actually unique because aside from the donations that we get from the people, we also rescued food from the public market. So those food are actually still edible, but they will be wasted if we actually did not rescue them. And aside from the rescued food, we also receive support from indigenous people from an area that is actually being developed right now. It will be converted into a dam, but we are actually, somehow fighting to stop the construction of the dam because the indigenous people will be affected. So I would also like to take this opportunity to thank everyone, my volunteers and the people who supported the initiative, and especially to my parents. They are actually both seniors, but they are always helping me to go to the market to rescue the food. And that's all. I believe everything is actually on the video, and I'm actually proud to say that young Filipinos, I mean, most of the organizers of community pantries across the Philippines are actually young people from the Philippines. And somehow, community pantries challenge those in power to improve our food systems. So that's all. Thank you.
Gusto po namin na makatulong din sa Kamaynilaan dahil siyempre po alam naman natin na hirap ngayon dahil walang mga trabaho ang karamihan.
Isang
simple na katutubo nagpro-provide ng pagkain sa mga community pantries na to.
Nakatambay kami nun dito sa may kalye lang, sa may ilang kabataan dito sa purok namin. And then sabi nila, kuya magtayo tayo ng pantry. So during that time talaga kami pang pondo, no? So puno pa kami ng agam-agam. Pero sabi ko, sige, magsisimula tayo ng pantry. So nagsimula lang kaming maglatag ng mga empty tables. And patuloy na nalalaman yung mga dating empty tables lang.
Una-una po na nakita ko po yan, dumalo na po kami dito. Tapos po kami nagpapasalamat at nagsusuwa po kami at maligaya po kami dahil nakakain po kami ng mga vitamins na gulay.
Malaking tulong rin po sa pamilya. Hindi naman mahirap naman ngayon ang trabaho. Katulad ko, wala akong trabaho ngayon, malaking tulong po sa akin.
First time nilang narinig yung papel ng mga magsasaka sa ganitong pantry kasi minsan nagiging missing or ghost yung source ng gulay eh. Pero pag pinento ko na sa kanila na galing pa tong Tanay, galing pa tong Daraitan, sabi na, oo nga, no? Sana matulungan man lang yung mga magsasaka at mga katutubo na nagdadala ng pagkain dito.
Bilang katutubo din kami ay talagang nandoon yung aming puso, yung aming sarili na nakakabit sa kalikasan kung ano yung meron. Hindi maganda na yung lupa namin na pag-aari namin ay nakatenga na hindi papakinabangan. Ang ginagawa namin, nagtanim para siya ang papakinabangan at makuhaan namin ng pangunahing pangangailangan sa aming tahanan.
Dito po sa lugar namin, hindi naman po lahat may lupa. Hindi naman po lahat marunong magtanim. Minsan wala rin po ditong makain, lalo na po walang trabaho po halos lahat ng tao dito.
1 year na talagang hindi naman tayo makakilos dahil sa pandemya at lockdown ay ang amin talagang tinutukan ngayon ay pagtatanim at pagugulayan. Sinasabi namin doon sa aming mga nasa farm ng tribo na ibigay din natin at tulong doon sa mga community na lugar sa Manila na nangangailangan ng tulong, nakapares din namin.
Bilang isang senior high, weekly po kasi kami nagpapasa ng module. So, sobrang hirap po niyang pagsabihin. Pero kung meron po talagang time management, yung leader, pwede naman po siyang mag-aral ng gabi, tapos pwede siyang tumulong sa community pantry ng umaga.
Kaming mga magsasaka ay buhay din ang nakasakripisyo diyan dahil sobrang init, pagod, hindi mo alam kung may stroke ka na lalo kung nag-iisa ka sa gubat. Kaya ang sa akin is ibahagi din nila at kung alam mo namang hindi mo kailangan, hayaan ang iba na masigit sa iyo na nangangailangan noong sa community pantry.
Ang pangalan nga po ng pantry namin is Pinagbuhatan Sustainable Community Pantry. Nakaka-challenge kasi may sustainable. Paano pag di mo na-sustain, diba? So ang sabi ko nga magtutuloy-tuloy itong pantry as long as meron kaming nare-rescue na pagkain sa palengke. At syempre may mga tao na willing tumulong.
Natuwa naman po kami kasi medyo natigil nga po ko yung aming pantry dahil nga wala nang nag-donate ng ano. So, ang saya kasi meron na naman kami mapapasaya mamaya. At masaya din kami dahil nakikita namin yung mga reaksyon ng mga mukha nila. Kahit na konti lang yung nabibitbit sa kanilang mga kamay, masaya sila na nakakakuha sila ng libre.
Naging masaya yung mga tao kasi nakita nila yung kabataan kumikilos para sa pangangailangan ng mga tao dito. Minsan meron ding out Kasi bata lang kami, hindi namin kayang gawin, minor de edad yun. Pero naging namin yung inspiration. Nagpapasalamat kami kasi sa ganong pamamaraan sa mga farmers, may natutulong sila kahit na maliit na bagay.
Sinasabi namin doon sa aming mga nasa farm na mga tribo na sa tingin ninyo ay tayo ay hindi nakakatulong sa kapwa-tao natin, hindi ba ninyo alam yung ating ginagawa ay mas nakakatulong pa rin tayo, hindi yung sabi ninyo tayo ay humihingi ng tulong. Bawat butil o pagkain ay huwag sisirain. Sa bawat butil ng pagkain ay pwedeng 2-3 tao ang ating ma-reserve sa pagkakaroon. May mga lugar na nangangailangan pa ng tulong ay muli nating tulungan at walang ibang tutulong sa ating bansa kung hindi tayo pa rin ang pagdating ng panahon magkakasama. Kumbaga man ay sa isang pagkain, tayo sa ating lugar o bansa magkakalapit lamang na kumakain sa isang pagkainan.
Isa lang sa naging problema namin dito ay ang Kaliwa Dam. Gusto din namin ipakita sa gobyerno ang aming kinukuha doon sa pagtatayuan ninyo ng dam at doon sa ilulubog ninyo. Maraming pamilya ang mapapakain. Ito ba ay dapat nating sirain o dapat nating suportahan lalo ang mga katutubo na hindi na ituloy ang project na to kasi nakikita po nila na dito pala nanggagaling yung mga pagkain na to.
Ang tubig na galing sa bundok na iniinom ng mga dito sa syudad. Yung gulay na kinakain ng mga taga-urban areas, galing yan sa bundok. Ngayong pandemya na lang to na-realize kung ano kahalaga yung food security na pinaglaban ng mga farmers noon. No? Na-recognize yung role ng mga magsasaka sa ganitong mga sitwasyon na krisis. No? Nakikita nila kung ano yung pinaka-basic na pangangailangan ng isang tao, pagkain, at sino yung nagpo-produce ng mga pagkain nito, yung mga magsasaka at saka mga mangingisda.
Okay, thank you, Lo. Thank you for your time, and also I think it's a great job we are doing here for the youth. Okay, then I will give all the thank you also to all our speakers above, and I think for the last session I will give the floor to our Dr. Roy Sabayasachi, also the president of the AOA, and for the lessons learned today.
Thank you, all the speakers. Thanks, my friend Li Fong. It's always wonderful to see you. To wrap up, it was a very, very interesting session, specifically so because it's about smallholders and the youth. As we know, Asia has been really focusing on the youth. In the East and Southeast Asia, smallholder family farmers ensure diversity of food for local population. Proper government policies and incentives for smallholder families and the young farmers can ensure sustainability of local food systems. Youth is like the fresh green shoots that would become the future big tree. In this new world order, youth has the ability to connect by breaking boundaries for global unity. IFOM Asia has been consistently working towards encouraging the youth in organics. The first IFOM Asia Organic Youth Forum was held in Shanzhou City, China, about 5 years back in October 2016. The vibrancy of young organic leaders brought together young organics of the world together to form the Young Organics Global Network that was formally launched with the support from IFOM Asia in a virtual event on 18th of September 2020. And it's great to have you as the key person, Li Fong. The co-chair Young Organics Global Network beautifully moderated and engaged this important summit. Young Organic leader from Hong Kong, Cecily Wong, also the co-president of Algoa OFC Alumni Association, welcomed the panelists of this important event. The session 1 was about the challenges for smallholders and youth. Young farmer Ling from Zhejiang province, Eastern China, discussed about the challenges for the smallholders and the youth in China. She indicated that the bees are decreasing in numbers and low social status of small farmers. She rightfully pleaded that authorities need to support small organic farmers and they be included in policy support and be incentivized. Thereafter, Chan Shamyu Carol from Hong Kong discussed on PGS in Hong Kong, opportunities and the challenges. She presented the story of Plant Right Now that promoted fresh, local and organic. She explained how through PGS, open days were organized for bringing in the consumers for creating consumer-farmer relationship. Carol also indicated that the challenges like the high operation cost in developed economy like her country, and also there is a need for balance between social and business. She also touched upon the global warming issues. One of the pioneers of organic movement in India, Matthew John, Executive Director of Keystone Foundation, discussed about the need for empowerment of tribal communities. He indicated that indigenous communities are the stewards of mountain ecosystem and need to be heard by the policy planners and empowered. Matthew presented a beautiful video on the work being done by the Keystone Foundation by establishing a producer company and a private social enterprise for marketing of the produce, mainly honey and other value-added products. He suggested that we need to give recognition and space to the marginal tribal communities. The session 2 was all about our Guru Conrad, our beloved teacher. He presented the role of smallholders and youth in food systems. Conrad indicated that 70% of the world population are dependent on peasant food system. He suggested that the youth should work towards bringing in focus and support of the people and policymakers towards the smallholders, and advised all the youth to burst the bubble. He felt that smallholders need to do organic farming by innovation, adopting better scientific ways. He also advised the youth need to be use, engage, eat, be, and join, connect. And we are doing so today, and grow food that does not cost the earth. Thereafter, Mayor Romel Arnado of the municipality of Kuswangan in Philippines made a wonderful video presentation. That is probably one of the greatest things that's happening in Philippines. That's arms to farms, building peace through organic agriculture. The world can learn from such inspiring experience from the Philippines that, according to Romel, changed the heart and lives of the masses. Armed men became organic farming teachers. The program uses technology like computers and drones to engage the new young people for development of organic agriculture. It was rightfully indicated through the video that organic agriculture is the way forward for their area. In this session 3 of the sharing best practices and solutions, also our board member, IFOM Organics International from Japan, Miyoshi Satako, discussed on the local organics for locals, minimize the food systems to maximize the values. She talked about the aging farmer population in Japan, where 70% of the food is imported. Less number of farmers now. However, Miyoshi informed about one good sign and ambitious target of converting 25% of the land in Japan to organic by 2050. That would be wonderful. The opportunity is that consumers are preferring local food and discussed about how that micro distribution model wherein local buses are helping farmers in transporting organic vegetables to the stores. We really look forward to Japan doing such wonderful thing, and others can learn about it. Another world board member of IFOM Organics International and young energetic president of Inofo, Shamika Mone, talked from India about one of the most important topic of organic farming, smallholders and the seed movement. Shamika presented how the pioneer farmers in India have helped preserve the diversity of indigenous seeds and informed about different farmer networks organized to protect and preserve seeds. This is one of the most important topic touched, and probably there is a huge role that comes to all of us regarding how seeds can be preserved, conserved, and how we can get access to good seeds, organic seeds. Young organic expert from Kyrgyzstan, Asan, through a wonderful video presented empowerment of farmers in the organic IMAX. How the farmers, small farmers, are preserving local culture, tradition of crop, and also food diversity. Lou Mercado from Greenpeace South Asia presented the Isang Hapag Kainan Community Pantry. He indicated that young Filipinos are coming forward to create a difference in the lives of rural indigenous masses and supporting organic farming. They ensure connecting the farmers directly with the consumers and that not a single grain of food go waste. In conclusion, I feel that smallholders are the mainstay of farming and sustainable food systems. Youth is the spirit of life and energy that can lighten up the global organic movement. Thank you. I hope this was summarized for your understanding and it was understood. Lifeng, it's all to you.
Yeah, thank you, Roy. And I'm expecting to meet you in person soon. So I think, yeah, it's a great session today we made. You know, when I read all the scientific paper in the office about climate change, and until one day now, I cannot even survive without air conditioner at home. And also, we watched so many news about the nuclear waste in the Pacific, and until one day we find the fish in the market are polluted. And I think the pandemic taught us a very good lesson that we cannot always sit there, and one day you will become part of the news like the pandemic we have today. So I think each of us really have to take the action, and based on the session we have today, I do hope that every of us could believe that you can take the actions. And also my dear Young Organics and the youth group, the sun has never failed us each single of the millennia, and I think you dedicated work will guarantee the sunrise of the tomorrow. So this summarizes the session for today, and please enjoy your time for our continuous sessions. Yeah, bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Yeah, bye. Ciao, Roy.
Bye.